Welcome. In a few moments, we'll do a 5-minute sitting practice, attending to the sensations of the breath. When we notice our mind wandering, gently returning to establish a more steady, stable, spacious way of being, useful as a practice unto itself to set us up for perhaps a more even-keeled and focused morning or afternoon, and also very useful over the long term to reestablish ways that we relate to experiences, to be a little bit more effective, to have this happen more naturally and spontaneously because we've been training ourselves in this regard. A few moments ago I said a bit more spaciousness, and so let's draw upon a metaphor, play with the metaphor of outer space and inner space for just a moment, as it might help us perceive a little bit more clearly what it is that we're doing when we're practicing, and perhaps allowing it to be a little bit of a less effortful, at times frustrating endeavor. Imagine looking out at the stars for the first time. Imagine what it was like for early humankind to look out at the vastness of space and of these heavenly bodies. And at first there was no making sense of it. How could one make sense of it? But by paying attention, by studying, by examining with a patience and a wonder and a fascination, in time, patterns began to emerge. Things that just went away came back. And one became curious about that, and one kept paying more attention because one began to realize more that there was something going on. There was an orderliness to this. And in time we learned about the sun and the planets orbiting the sun. And so much more. We began to understand way more than we could possibly see with our eyes. And to also intuit and predict the nature of things to come. So, and I guess I should add, and also understand that which went before. And so when we lower or close our eyes, in some ways creating an internal orientation towards a similar dark vastness of space, if we're feeling busy in the mind or our feelings are really sort of agitating, it may not feel so spacious. And so here we are taking a few minutes to say, let me pay attention, but can I do it? And this is the invitation for today, as if I were looking out at that sky for one of the first times. Patient, fascinated, interesting. There's me, the sun, one could say. And there are these planets of thoughts and feelings, hot and cold, distant and close by, receding and moving away, and continuing to return. And in some ways, as we pay attention, we see a certain degree of natural, lawful relationships, and we begin to understand that which took place and that which in the future may take place as well, by noticing these patterns and paying attention with that open, investigative mind of a Galileo, of a Newton, of an astronomer, interested in understanding. And so let us practice with that inspiration. So we bring ourselves into a posture that's upright and stable. As we lower or close our eyes, whichever you prefer, resting attention on the sensations of this body sitting. As we breathe. Aware of the sensations arising where we make contact with the chair or cushion beneath us. Where our back may be meeting chair behind us. Sensations of the hands resting one in the other or on our lap. We're directing our telescope and we're observing whatever there is that's arising that we can detect. Sensations of our feet making contact with the ground. Your eyes may well be closed, and yet somehow you know, you perceive these sensations. This is a very powerful telescope. And you direct it. You point it. And of course, when the mind wanders, it's like it's gone. Or who knows where it's pointing, who knows what it's attending to. Those planets, the thoughts and the feelings that can come along, and we can use the telescope to pay attention to them, to get to know them a little bit more directly, to see more clearly into their true nature. Or we can forget what we're doing and get yanked along for quite the ride. And so we direct the telescope to the sensations of the breath flowing through the body, pointing it to the belly, moving with the breath, or the nostrils with the air flowing in or out. You decide where to point your telescope and hold it steady as best you can. Breathing. And we know that the more we attend to the sensations of the breath, the finer the resolution, the magnification of our telescope. We become more skilled at noticing the subtleties and the details. We begin to notice a little bit more quickly when the telescope begins to move away, unbeknown to us. So we can choose whether to return to the breath or to point it somewhere else in particular. Inner space. It's so vast. It's so open. And thoughts and feelings come and go amid the vastness of our inner space. Breathing in, breathing out, And when you're ready, in the next moment or two, with an awareness of doing so, lifting the gaze, opening the eyes. We are like the sun. There is so much revolving around us. Things out there, we could say, and our own internal mental activity of thoughts and feelings. And also, everybody else is their own sun. It is not just one solar system. It is not that everything is revolving around us. We have our own nature. We have that which is seemingly in the orbit and the gravitational pull of our own experience. And so too does everybody else. And we are all a part of this vast, extraordinary life. Wishing you well.